Yeah, I want to thank you for comments. And most of your comments are saying that you'd like to see a wiring diagram of my UHF, VHF kind of radio Go Box. So I'd like to do that the best I can visually. If you want to see how this works, you can see my other two videos I do have on my channel. Otherwise, I'm just going to start breaking this down right here. Some new things I have done, you might notice, is that for my radios, I've gone with the UV82 Bofang. Reason I use Bofangs is because it gets me a lot of frequencies that your ICOMs, your EACs don't give you that I use. These are rated at 8 watts max, 7 or 8, kind of whatever it takes. That's new. There's also a little bit of a new hole here for just getting into my positive negatives on my 5 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery, and then a charging port too. Got a 2 amp charger that goes to this and charges it up fairly quick. So just so you know, when this is put together here, all of this, these two here go underneath, as well as a antenna that you can throw on top of a car. If you got extension here, you can put it on top of a roof or so on for a UHF, VHF. So if you want to measure a couple things, this aluminum, 1/8 inch aluminum plate here runs 14 3/4 by 10 1/2. This pyramid model PS8KX. This runs, the box part of it is 6 1/2, but you got to bring it back here, so you're talking about 7 1/4 by 4 7/8. Again, this is right about 5 inches. Height is right at 3. And then this box here, we're looking at 8 7/8, and at the most here 5 15/16. And then this will run right at 3 inches that way. This particular radio, in case you use something different, is about 4 1/4 and running about 1 5/8 high. And the depth looks like about 5 1/2 by the time your knob to the end there. One thing that I really like and how it works is it sits into this groove right here, and to utilize it, you see these, the bottom here, this is the bottom of it. You see how these spin, and they go back like this and like this, and now this will seat all the way inside. See how it sits in there really nicely? And then, of course, everything else is underneath. There's still lots of room. When you look at the feet, you can see how these are put together. There's some rubber screw-on pieces here, all tight, using Loctite and so on. And you can see at this point how I put this together. Just a, extension cord. It's kind of wire bolted, velcroed into here. This is where these two are the Bofang converter from AC to DC. So what I have here, as far as the power supply goes, let me give you the wiring of the power supply. The power supply in both positive and negative, red and black, basically flows to here, which will go into my radio, and here, and then here to my voltage, and then here to the kind of external connectors that I use. There's nothing connected at this point. I like to put extra buttons, so as I add to things, I'm able to do that. Secondly, we have the AC connection. Okay, so the AC connection, as you can tell, comes into the power supply right back here, and it comes up through here and then into here. So let's go ahead and trace the wiring of these two switches. These two switches actually, I've got toggle on, off, and then going another direction. But I have these switches in case I want to add anything. At this point, this is off, this is on, this is off, this is on. So this, as you notice, when I turn this on, your lights show up here. So this switch controls the charging of the Bofang radios. I can turn that off if I want and let it sit like this. This switch turns on my power supply. So my power supply will then charge this, okay? And as we talked about before, you can see how the connection of the power supply goes into here, and this can come off here on up, but that's the Andersons here. So when and this is, you can see why now this has to be cut, because this has to fit back in there for your antenna. So that fits back in there. So when I turn this on, this light comes on down here, and you'll also notice then I have access to here. Now, if I want to run, see if you can see this here. If I want to run my 5 amp hour battery, I go down, I push it down this way. This will turn it on and run my 5 amp hour battery. And then I've got, of course, these things as well. This one, there's nothing on there, again, in case I want to add something. But I've got my light here, which is an LED strip. See the LED strip right here? Okay, you clean your surfaces really well and then peel off and stick it on there. I've had no trouble over the years. And then there's a slot here that goes in. And then you can also charge phones from here or whatever you would like. But let me just turn these off, that off. But this is my 5 amp hour battery right now. Or I can turn it off and I can turn it on this way. And now I am connected to the power supply. Okay, so now I'm just running AC at this point. I can also run this separately with any other power supply I would like to. A little something I threw together can just plug right into here as well. 10 amp hour battery with connections for USB and so on. Only 2 outlets right here, and you can connect again back here, into here. And then when you come up here, it would just be the main connector up like this that would turn this on. So anyhow, lots of ways to use your car battery, any other battery for this as well. This is where the cooling system is on this radio, so that's why this is cut right there. If we look back here, we can see the Anderson plugs going back there, and how the fan here pulls here and kind of pulls out of here, and then how this little right angle goes there, so you get your antenna in right there. And here is the 5 amp hour battery. What I've done here is I've just kind of created just a little corner right there that screws in there, and then also screws in flush there. And if you notice, you'll see also the feet are screwed in there, and you'll see that they're cut off right over here. So here's my poor definition of a wiring diagram. If you notice down the bottom, I've got a little bit of a negative bus bar, and then everything else is just connected in a way that you can either run the battery through here, through the switch right on the upper right hand corner, or switch it over to running the power supply that will come in here. So the two choices are receiving power here or receiving power from here. So you get kind of an idea how it runs here. Turn right here, you can see the negative connector here and the positive connector right in here. You can flip this off and take that out. These are tubes, and as you can tell, it looks like I've got 832 bolt that starts here and goes all the way through, and lock nut here. Once I disconnect those, then this just slides right out here. Give you a little idea of the battery that I use. I'm going to wipe it off a little bit here. And I'm using the same mounts on that side for the radio to hold it up. And there's a little bit of room there that helps with heat as well. If you want to also look at the screw down pattern, it's all right here. Just a couple things here too. You might ask what this is for. This makes it just easy to pull on and off, grabbing it here and then grabbing it here to lift this on and off. And again, when you look at these tabs fit really clean in this groove right here. It fits really clean, so there is no movement at all in here. It fits very clean inside the edge. What I also have here is a rack that I built that has lights around it, but the main thing is the 400 watts of solar along with a ham radio antenna mount.